Okay, thanks for joining. And what we're going to do right now is walk you through the owner's choice analysis spreadsheet. Now, this is the exact spreadsheet that the representative is going to walk through with you during your no obligation free consultation. Now, this is an exact example of a property that was analyzed in Edmonton, Alberta on March 11th, 2016. Now, all the information provided in this documentation came directly from the homeowner themselves. So they were asked a series of questions, very much like the information that you're going to submit when you register for your no obligation consultation. And then they're going to ask you some other questions during the process to make sure that we're putting in your answers and your information, because really this is all about you and showing you how much money you can make using this specific service versus the other options out there available. Now, speaking about options, most homeowners have four options available to them, but really they only know of two. So if we look at the different choices, choice number one is rent, then sell at the end of the term. So a lot of people are familiar with renting their home out for X number of years and then selling it after it's been a rental for some time. Now, most homeowners are aware of that option. And if we go to choice number four, most homeowners are also aware that they can just sell it today. But what they're not aware of is choice number two and choice number three. Now, choice number two is where you actually turn your home into a rent to own. Now, we can help you do this. It's a very specialized service, very specialized contracts to ensure the success of the rent to own, putting somebody in there that's going to actually buy it. So a couple things you need to ensure: that one, that they have the income to support it, and two, that you know exactly how long it's going to take them to be able to qualify for a traditional mortgage. Now, we have a process that we help work with homeowners to ensure of the success of the rent to own at the end of the term. Now, choice number three, that is the choice where our company is actually going to rent the home from you for a set period of time. And at the end of the rental period, we're going to purchase the home from you. So, in essence, our company is actually leasing your home as long as we have the option to buy it at the end of the term. So, doing that, we offer a lot of guarantees. So, since our company is a tenant, we guarantee to pay your rent, we guarantee the no vacancies, we guarantee to cover all repairs and maintenance under $1,000 per instance. We guarantee to have appropriate insurance on the property. Uh, we're going to buy the home at the end of the term at a guaranteed price, and we're going to close quickly. So that's choice number three. So what I'm going to do is just actually walk through this example. I'm going to run through it quickly. And you may not get everything the very first time. You may have to watch this once or twice. Or it's a good precursor for when the representative comes and actually goes through your home and does the analysis for you to show you how much money you're going to make using this particular solution. Because what we guarantee is you're going to make more money working with us in either choice number two or choice number three than you ever will on choice number one and choice number four. I'm just going to walk you through this specific example just to give you an idea. And like I said, the numbers came specifically from the homeowner themselves when they were queried. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the property information, and then we're going to look at the original purchase costs, any repairs and improvements that the person put into the property during the term that they've owned it, the monthly income. So basically, if they're going to rent it out, how much income are they going to have? Look at the operating expenses of the home, and look at the selling costs at the end of the term. And then we'll have the mortgage payout, and then we'll total estimate profits. So let's dive right into it. And the first thing we're going to look at is the initial purchase price of $375,000. The mortgage balance at purchase is $356,250. Now, if I just click on this tab here, we can see that their original purchase price was $375,000. They bought it with 5% down, which means they got a 95% mortgage. The CMHC, because it was less than 20% down, they had to pay a CMHC of 3.75%. They had a very good interest rate of 2.5%, and they're amortizing it over 25 years. Now, this individual has only had the mortgage for 1 year, which means they have 4 years left on a fixed term mortgage. Their initial mortgage value is $356,250. That's without CMHC fees. With CMHC fees, it's $369,600. So you can see the purchase price is $375. Once CMHC tax on their fees, it's almost 100% finance. It's technically 98.25% financed, or 91.25%. Sorry, 99.25% financed. So the monthly mortgage payment is $1,656. So you can see the payout balance in 48 months from now. So if they go right to the end of their 5-year term, they're going to have to pay out the mortgage of $315,839. And if they pay out the mortgage in 6 months from now, let's say that they're put it up for sale and it's sold and closed within 6 months, they're going to have to pay the bank out $356,069 to clear up the mortgage. However, if they sell before the 48 months, there's going to be payout penalties. So let's quickly go back. So 375 is a purchase price, mortgage balance of 356,250. The estimated 375 fair market value. So obviously they've owned it for 1 year, and the market has not really changed in that 1 year time frame. The lease term, so 48 months. As we mentioned, they've owned it for 1 year, and they have 4 years left remaining on the mortgage term. Now, over the 4 years, they estimate that each year there's going to be a 1.25% appreciation rate. Currently, right now, the housing market is stagnant or slightly dropping, and they estimate over the next 4 years that it'll slowly come back up. So they came up with a very conservative appreciation rate of 1.25% per year over the next 4 years. So at the end of the 4 years, they estimate their home to be valued at $394,105. So based on that information, if we look at choice number 1, which is rent it out for 48 months and then sell it at the end of the term, the home is going to be worth $394,105. So the question was asked to the homeowners, if your home is worth $394,000, what is the bottom line number you're going to take for your property? And they had indicated $385,000, which is pretty standard. Probably 99% of the homeowners that we talk to are going anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 below what the estimated fair market value is. So that's a pretty normal number that we'll see. If they're going to do choice number 2, which is the rent to own, the assisted rent to own, in a rent-to-own situation, you have a built-in buyer, so you actually sell the property for what it's worth or what you estimate it's worth. So if you estimate it's worth $394,000, then the contracts are done up with the people in the home, and you're selling it for $394,000. So there is no price discount because there's no negotiation. You're setting the price right at the very beginning. We'll skip over to choice number 4, which is sell it today. So you can see we're going to sell it within the next 6 months. So they had, even though the property was worth today $375,000, and with 6 months of appreciation, it brings up to $377,000. Even though it's worth $377,000 today, they would not sell it for any less than $395,000. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why $395,000? That's, no one's going to buy that, and you're right. Nobody is going to buy that home for $395,000. If it's only worth $377,000. And also, no bank is ever going to finance an overpriced home. So if somebody wanted to buy it for $395,000, they would actually have to come up with an extra $20,000 down over and above the minimum 5% in order to cover the spread between $395,000 and $377,000. So this is definitely not going to happen in today's environment. We're not going to be selling a $377,000 home in Edmonton for $395,000. So let's go to the original purchase cost. So when they bought the home, here's what they had. There was $125 of land transfer. They paid a lawyer $1,500. They had a home inspection for $500 and prorated of property taxes for $1,800, which means that the person they bought it from had prepaid the taxes for the entire year, so they had to pay them back the amount, the prepaid amount, which was $1,800. So if we look, their original purchasing costs came to $3,925 right across the board. Oh, in the guaranteed service, I just left that zero for now, but what I'm going to show you is uh, the number I put in here is less important than the actual profit. So I'll put this number in here at the very end. And what I assure you is you're going to make more money with option number 2 and option number 3 than you ever will with option number 1 or option number 4. So repairs and improvements, it looks like that these people put $17,000 into the home when they purchased it. So they did some home improvements or some upgrades of $17,000 over and above the $375,000 purchase price. So now down to the monthly income. So if they're going to turn their home into a rental property, the fair market rent they expect they could get today is $2,300. Over the 4-year term, they'd have an income of $110,400. Now that's gross income. What we haven't accounted for yet is the vacancy. Now, typically, what we know from our vast experience and working right across the country is that most amazing tenants, the very best tenants, will stay in a property for at least 2 years. Now, these are the cream of the crop. These are the people that care for the property on a regular basis. These are the people that pay their rent on time and keep the place immaculate. So every 2 years, they're going to go on and typically move somewhere else or buy their own home. So those are the type of people that you actually want in the home. So when they leave and you want to get the same quality of individual back in there, even though these people looked after the home extremely well, there's going to be some nicks in the wall or some scrapes or whatever into the property. It's normal wear and tear. So in order to attract the same quality of people, you're going to have to go in, you're going to have to do some minor touch ups, and you're going to have to repaint the entire place. Because to attract that type of quality individual, you're going to have a pristine property, which means it's going to be freshly coated, freshly painted. So that's typically going to take 1 month for that to happen. And then once it's completely done, you're going to put it up for rent. And during the next month, you're going to find and secure that quality individual, provided it's in a good rental market. Now, within that month, these people are typically renting somewhere else, so they're going to have to give notice to their existing landlord, which you want, because you want the type of people who are going to give notice. People who just skip out on rent to move into your place, you do not want them as tenants because they'll do the same thing to you. So even though in the second month they're securing the rental, they have to give 1 month's notice. So that's another month that goes by. So every 2 years, the place is going to be vacant for 3 months to secure and get that top quality individual in there. Now that works out to be 1.5 months per year on average, which is 12.5%. So we put in a vacancy of 12.5% during the term of the rental, which you're going to be carrying that cost, which comes to $13,800. So your effective gross income is $96,600 on the renting and then selling options. So choice number 1. Now choice number 2 is where you're turning it into a rent own. So you get fair market rent, but you also get an extra monthly payment over and above fair market rent, which goes towards their purchase price. So this gets added into and accumulates every single month and gets used as their down payment if and only if they purchase the property. So you're collecting $2,500 a month. Now that extra $200 does not have to be kept in a trust fund. It's yours to spend. You just have to show documentation proving that the people paid you. And these are 2 separate payments, 2 separate checks, or 2 separate direct deposits. So you just have to be able to prove that they actually paid this to you. So you don't have to keep this in a trust whatsoever. So over the term, you're going to have a $120,000 income over the 4 years. And you'll notice that there's this add additional option consideration. Now, typically when you're doing a rent own, people must come in with a down payment. It's technically called initial option consideration, but this just ensures that these guys are serious, that they truly want to buy the home at the end of the term. So typically what we do is minimum 4 months worth of rent, and we increase it, or 2.5% of the end purchase price, somewhere's around that range, which works out to be, in this case, The homeowner said that they would accept $11,000 minimum. So the people coming in must give you a certified check or a bank draft for $11,000 right up front. Now that's yours to spend, to keep, to do whatever you want with. And that just gets added in here. Now, in order for us to help you with the rent own, like I said, it's very specialized service, specialized contracts. We have two different options. One is a consulting and contract service. That's where we give you guidance through email, through phone support, and we create all of the contracts for you once you secure yourself a quality tenant buyer. So that means that you're doing the marketing yourself, you're doing the pre-screening yourself. We'll advise you and we'll give you help in that assistance, but you're doing it on your own. You're doing the showings, you're setting everything up, and we'll guide you through the process, and then we will create the contracts for you. And then you have the ability to use our contracts and then have them reviewed by your lawyer before you sit down and sign with these individuals, but they're already completed. Or we have another option, which is the $15,000 option. That's where we do every single thing right up front to the point in time when you're sitting down across the table from the tenant buyer, signing the papers, and they're handing you a check for the $11,000, for the $2,300 up front, for the $200 up front, and then for the security deposit or first or last month's rent, whatever it is in your particular province. So you're going to collect a check for 11,000 plus 2,300 plus 200 plus another 2,300. So you're going to be getting well over $15,000 before these people take the keys. So we'll actually do it right up to that point. We'll do the showings, we'll do the marketing, we'll do every single piece, the contracts, the walkthrough inspection, taking of the photographs. There's nothing that you need to do until it's actually signed, sealed, and delivered, and they hand you the checks. At that point in time, you're responsible for the management and the day-to-day looking after of the property for the next 4 years. So we are actually out at that point in time. So you have the two different options, the $5,000 option or the $15,000 option, whichever you secure. So this individual looks like they were looking to take the $5,000 option. So their monthly income over the 48 months, or their totaled $126,000. Now, choice number 3, that's where our company rents it from you and then gives you all the guarantees, and then we're going to buy it at the end of the term. So we're going to come in and we're going to pay you $2,100 rent. Now, remember, there's guarantees there. We guarantee to pay the rent on time every single month. So once we start paying it, we don't stop paying it for the entire 48 months. So there's 0 vacancies. We're also going to look after the repairs and maintenance up to $1,000 per instance. Just offer you all those guarantees, and you can rest assured that you're going to sleep well at night knowing that a professional company is looking after it. So because of all of our guarantees, we're going to pay you just a little bit less than what you get on the open market, but that's to cover our guarantees. And so over the term, you're looking at and because it's 0% vacancy, you're looking at $100,800 income. Now, in order to make the contracts legal, the option contract for us to buy it at the end of the term, we're going to secure it with a $100 deposit. So your total effective gross income in option number 3 is $100,900, which is still more than option 1, which is your rental and then selling, but it's a little bit less than option 2, where you're doing the rent own yourself. Now, just for an example, if I were to put $15,000 in here, I'll change it back. You can see that you're still making more with option number 2, $116,000, and you actually have 0 work to the point of us putting somebody in there and securing it. And then once that's done, then you're just maintaining and managing the property. So I'll put it back to 5,000. And option number 4, which is selling your home today, obviously none of this monthly income comes into play because you're living in the home and there's no vacancy. Chances are you're living in the home. So let's go down to the operating expenses. So these are the annual expenses, and then they get multiplied by the length of the term. So in our case, it'll be over 4 years. So the property taxes on this property are $3,600 per year. Insurance, $612. And like I said, these numbers come directly from the homeowner. Ongoing repairs and capital improvements. So this is to keep the home in good condition and regular repair on a regular basis, even if you're living in the home. So this is things like furnace cleaning, yard maintenance, just upkeep, hiring a contractor to come in and fix a little bit of wiring or plumbing or whatever it is. Uh, typically on a single family home, you're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500 in our professional experience of doing hundreds of homes across the country. We know typically what it takes to run a household. Now, electricity, uh, even though the tenants are going to be paying the electricity, it's during those times, the 1.5 months a year when it sits vacant. So you're looking at a $75 a year for that 1.5 months. Gas, same thing. When it sits vacant, you're going to have to pay for it. Water and sewer, same thing. You're going to have to pay for it. And advertising, even if you're using Kijiji or Craigslist, you're still going to need to uh, maybe purchase some signs, make up some flyers, or put it at the top of Kijiji, which costs money now. So there is going to be some advertising for every single vacancy. And you can see that there's no other costs associated. So all of those get transferred over. Now, in column number 4, you can see that, remember, we were going to sell it within the 6 months. So there's half a year of taxes, half a year of insurance, half a year of repairs and maintenance. Because you're living in it, there's zero expenses. You get accounting and legal, so every year you're paying your accountant, to do your taxes. Remember, as an income property, this becomes now a business, so it's more complicated to do your taxes. So you'll need to hire that out to an accountant. So they figure they're going to spend at least $600 a year, or sorry, $150 a year, which works out to be $600 over the 4 years, and $200 for this particular year. Now, there's no condo fees, but you can see that we entered the mortgage payment, the $1,656, which we get on the other page. So we look at the total operating expenses for the entire term, or the 48 months. So column 1 is renting it out for 48 months, then selling it. So during the 48 months, the operating expenses come to $107,136. Option number 2, that's where you're turning it into a rent to own. And things to remember during the rent to own is, remember, it's not vacant, and the tenant looks after all the repairs and maintenance on up to $1,000 per instance. So all of these remain zero. The ongoing repairs and capital improvements, they're covered by the tenant in option 2. That's where you're turning it into a rent to own. We look after it in option 1, or option number 3. We look after it up to $1,000 per instance, so it remains zero. If our tenants move out, we cover the costs of all the electricity, the hydro, all of that stuff. So that's always zero. And because it's turning it into a rent to own, these people are signed in for 48 months. So you're not going to have the repairs and maintenance or any of these costs associated to vacancy. So because of that, option number 2, column for operating expenses, $96,936. The same for option number 3. And option number 4, which is selling your home today, you're going to have $13,342 in operating expenses. So cash flow over the term, you can see that you're actually, over the 48 months on a basic rental, you're going to lose $10,536. On turning it into a rent to own, you're going to gain $29,064. If our company rents it from you and then has the option to buy, you're going to gain $3,964 over the term. And just selling it today, obviously you're going to lose $13,342 because 1, you have no income, and 2, you still have the expenses of the household during that term of the mortgage, and then the taxes and the insurance and any repairs. So monthly cash flow with the initial option consideration. Remember that $11,000 that came into play that you got right at the very beginning. So that's what that sort of entails. Now, you didn't get that in option 1, so you have a negative cash flow of $219.50. Now, I know most homeowners, probably yourself included, are not too interested in losing $220 a month. Now, when you account for the $11,000 into option number 2, you've got a monthly cash flow of $605.50. If you don't include it, meaning you go out and spend the $11,000 right up front, you still have a monthly cash flow every single month of $376.33. Now that's a pretty healthy cash flow that you're going to get every single month just by turning your home into a rent own. You get that 11,000 up front, plus you get that $376.33 every single month. Now, option number three, this is where our company rents it, and then our company has the option to buy it every single month. Our initial option was only $100 to make the contracts valid. So every single month, you're going to have a monthly income of $80.50. Now, that's much better than having a negative of $220. And also, you have all of the guarantees, and you really do no work. Option number three, I can't stress enough how turnkey it is. We do everything for you. All you do every single month is cash the check. We do all of the management process, look after everything. So that's option number three, is our guaranteed service. You're still making a positive cash flow, and you have the security and the guarantees every single month. Now, option number four, which is selling your home today, obviously you're losing $13,000 and it sells within 6 months. That works out to be a $2,223 a month loss. So let's look at the selling costs at the end of the term. So the 48 months go by and it's time to sell the property. So in option number one, where you're renting it out yourself and then selling it, after you've had great tenants in it for 4 years, you're looking at $3,000 in getting it show ready. You're looking at $3,000 in getting it show ready. So that's fixing it up, getting it ready to put on the marketplace. Now, during those 5 months, obviously, if it was a rental, you're going to have it vacant. So you're going to lose income for the 5 months. Now, where the 5 months come into play is obviously you got some getting a show ready. So that's once the people move out, you're going to take a month to do the fix ups, to do the painting, that sort of stuff. Then you're going to put it on the market. Typically, a home will sell within 60 days. So that's now you're up to 3 months. But when someone buys a home, they don't move in that day. Typically, when it comes to financing and getting everything done, you're looking at another 60 days for this full financing to go through, everything to happen. So you're looking at a 5 month time frame from the time you start to fix it up to the time someone hands you the money and you hand them the keys. So you're losing about $9,000 in income, or you have $9,000 worth of expenses. Now, remember, you're going to sell the home. You agreed to sell the home for $385,000. So you're going to have to pay a realtor $15,550. You're also going to have legal expenses. So in option one, renting it out for 4 years and then selling it, you have a $29,050 expense for selling costs. Now, option number two is where you're turning it into a rent to own and then you're selling it. So there is no cost to getting it show ready because you're selling it to the people that are living in it. There's no loss of income because they're paying you right up to the point where they buy it. There's no realtor fees because there's no realtor involved. There are some legal closing costs, and they're a little bit more expensive because it is a little bit more complicated. And the lawyer handles that. There's no management costs associated. But remember that $200 a month that they were paying over and above rent? Well, you have to credit that back. You don't have to actually have the cash, but you have to credit it off the purchase price, which means it comes into play for your selling costs. Plus the initial $11,000 they gave up front. You're going to have to credit that off the original purchase price of $394,000. So your selling costs in option two, the rent to own, is $24,300. Now, option number three, that's where you're renting it to us, and then we have the option to buy it. You have some legal costs. They're a little bit more expensive, but less when you're dealing with us. And we do have some management fees, but we only collect those management fees during the purchase. When we go to purchase the property, we're collecting management fees. So in this case, the management fees are $7,200, and we have to credit back the $100 that we gave you to make the contracts valid. So the total selling costs in option number 3, that's where we're renting it from you and then have the option to buy our guaranteed service. The total selling costs are $9,300. Now, if you're just selling it today, obviously, like I said, you're going to sell it within the 6 months. You're going to have to pay a realtor if you're lucky enough to sell it for $20,000 above fair market value, and you're going to have some legal costs. So your selling costs for number 4 for selling it today are $17,350. So remember in the mortgage amortization, we saw the mortgage payout balance for 48 months from now and then 6 months from now. So we go back here, we can see the mortgage payout, $315,839 is in effect for the first option 1, option 2, option 3, and the $356,000 is in effect for option 4. Now, because we waited till the end of the term, there's no mortgage payouts for these 3 options, but the homeowners indicated that they feel that there would be a $10,000 mortgage payout here. I truly believe that this number is very understated. I think it would be closer to $30,000 because there's 4 years left on the term and the bank collects the interest differential. But remember, these are the homeowner's numbers, so we plug in whatever they tell us. Whatever you tell us, we're going to plug in. But I truly think that this $10,000 is really low. I think if you actually called the bank and asked them if you were to sell it today, what the mortgage payout would be with 4 years left on the term, I do believe that this number will be much higher than $10,000. So your total mortgage payout costs are shown here, $315,000, $315,000, $315,000, $366,000. So let's go down and look at the total estimated profits. Now, like I said, you're going to make more money working with us in option number 2 and option number 3 than you will in option number 1 or option number 4. You can see I still haven't put in the purchase price yet for option number 3. But these are just the summaries. The estimated future sale price, remember, was $385, $394. I haven't entered this number yet, and $395. The original purchasing costs, the effective gross income over the term. So in this case, you're going to make $96,600, $126,000, $100,000. Your total repairs and improvements were constant right across the board. Less the total operating expenses. So you can see 107,000 operating expenses, 96, 96, 13. Total selling costs, 29,000, 24,000, 9,000 when you use our guaranteed service, and 17,000 here. Total mortgage payout, less initial cash invested at the purchase. So this is the down payment. Remember, they bought the place for 5% down. Well, this is their 5%. So what we need to do is collect that back before we calculate profit, because that's not calculated in the profit. That is money that they've already put into the property. So it's the money that they've already put into it. So their total money in less their total money out gives them the total profit. So I'm just going to quickly go up here and put in a number. Okay. So we can see in option number 1 where they rented it out for 4 years and then sold it. When the deal is done, the bank is going to cut them a check for $40,111. Now, out of that, they still have lost $10,000. So you're probably asking, well, how'd they lose $10,000 if they got $40,111? Well, it's because of all of the negative here, all of the operating expenses, the selling expenses, the mortgage payout. So those numbers were more than what the individual actually paid during the term, or what they collected during the term. So there's a $10,000 loss. So even though they're getting a check for $40,000 at the end, when you actually analyze it, they've lost $10,000. So I know most people aren't too interested in losing $10,000, and a big part of that comes into play is the operating expenses and the total selling cost. So those two are usually the biggest culprits when it comes to this number here. So option number 2, that's where you're turning it into a rent to own yourself, and then you are with our guidance, and it follows through. So at the end of the term, you're getting a check for $53,000 $48,861. That's the check you're going to get at the end of the term. However, you've made $43,249 profit. Well, you're saying, you could probably asking, well, how am I making so much profit? Remember that $11,000 that they paid you up front? Remember that extra $200 every single month? Those come into play. Your total effective gross income during the term is much higher. So you've made money up front and every single month, plus the bank is going to cut you a check at the very end for $53,000. So you can see right here the difference between these two numbers is if you turn it into rent to own versus a straight rental, the difference here is $53,000, just over $53,000. So here I've already showed you how you can make more money, up to $53,000 more, by turning it into a rent to own. Now, option number 3, if you recall, this is our guaranteed service. This is where our company rents it from you, and then our company has the option to buy. You do absolutely nothing for 4 years other than cash your check. We take all the liability, all the risks, and at the end of the 4 years, you're still getting a check for $49,861 from the bank. If you look, what you're getting from the bank is very similar. But in this one, you've done zero work. This one, you've had to do work. You've had to manage it for 4 years. You've had to do the rent own up front with our guidance. Remember, these people selected the $5,000 option, so they're the ones doing the showing. They're the ones actually doing the work. In this case, they pay nothing up front. They pay absolutely zero to us, and at the end of the 4 years, the lawyer is cutting them a check for $49,861. So very similar. There's only a $4,000 difference here. Now the profit is a little bit lower. Their total profit is $14,149. Now the difference between these two is just under $30,000. So you can see that's where we make our money. So we'll make just under $30,000 over a 4-year time frame. But we take all of the risks with this arrangement. So you have the guarantees of the rent, no vacancy, all the repairs and maintenance, that sort of thing. And at the end, you get a nice little check for $49,861. Now, option number 4, this is where you sell it today. The lawyer is going to give you a check for $11,581. Now, that doesn't even cover your down payment. So you technically are going to lose $41,435. So if you compare option number 2 and option number 3 against option number 4, you can see that the difference between these two, option 2 and option 4, is about $84,000. So you're going to make $84,000 more by option number 2 than you will option number 4. And you're going to make $55,000 more by choosing option number 3 than you would option number 4. So you're probably asking yourself, well, why would I choose option number 4? And that's the question I have for you. So out of these 4, which one is the least attractive to you? And we asked the question to this homeowner. So obviously the least attractive is this one. So that one is completely out. They're not going to sell it today because they're not even going to get their down payment back. And that's if they sold it for $395,000, which we all know that they're not going to sell it for $20,000 above fair market value. So this is completely out. So out of these 3 here, we asked the question, which one is the least attractive to you? And typically it's the one where you're losing money. So most people don't like to lose money. And if you recall, it was $200 and some every single month that they were losing on this renting it out. So who wants to pay $239 or whatever it was to have somebody live in their house? So every month that somebody is living in your house, you're paying $239. So that's not very attractive. So then it boils down to these two. Option number 2, this is where you're turning it into a rent to own, and then you're doing some of the work. And option number 3, that's where our company rents it from you, and then our company has the option to buy it, and we offer a guaranteed service. So you actually do absolutely nothing other than cash your check every single month and wait for the sale of the house to go through at the end. So out of these two, which one is most attractive to you? The one where you make more money but do a little bit more work, or the one where you make a little bit less money but do absolutely no work? So that's the question I pose to you. Which one is more attractive? So that concludes the owner's choice analysis spreadsheet. And what will actually happen is, if you haven't done so already, fill in the form on this page to have the representative come to contact you and actually plug in your numbers for this and walk through this with you to see what your numbers turn out to. What, how much total profit are you going to make on all four options? Because it's about making an informed decision. Option one, option two, option three, option four. Whatever decision you make needs to be an informed decision. So it's a no obligation, free, no obligation consultation where we're going to take your information, we're just going to plug it in the spreadsheet and just see what it says, so that you can make a very informed decision moving forward, whether to work with us and make more money, or to choose option one or choose option four. It's really up to you. It's your decision. It's your house. At the end of the day, you're going to make your own decision as to what you're going to do. So if you haven't done so already, fill in the form below. Fill in the form on this page and get your no obligation free consultation. We will take your information, we will plug it in here, we'll sit down with you, we'll ask you a series of questions. You see all the questions on here, and we'll show you just exactly, roughly exactly, just roughly how much profit you're going to make on all four options so that you can make an informed decision. So that concludes the owner's choice analysis spreadsheet. I thank you for following me through the video. If you have any questions, contact your local representative, fill in the form below, get your free analysis done, and get informed. So I look forward to chatting with you again real soon.